All right, Happy New Year, everyone. So, 2026 has officially started. So, first video of the new year, and kind of what we're doing today is we're going to be making wheel spats. Uh, Off camera, I put some blue fill on the bottom. I just kind of finished off the bottom. Um, the super fill stuff is really good. Like 50, it's very light, sands well, and the only downside is you got to wait about 24 hours for it to dry. If it would dry in like seconds, it'd be even better. Uh, but that's so landing gear track is exactly the way I want it. I've measured it, put it on a table, and what I do is take a triangle on the table, kind of just really look right down the gear leg, make sure when the plane is sitting level, how does it look? The other thing I look at is make sure that it looks level this way. A lot of it's just optics here. Make sure that the wheels are tracking somewhat straight, towed out a little bit, or I should say towed into the circle slightly. You tow them out, what they'll do is they'll scrub off and they'll wear weird, which doesn't matter. But yeah, so overall, I'm very happy. Uh, the overall weight is pretty good. What you see here with the flaps and elevators, hinges, is 29 and a quarter ounces. If I do the math and I add up the electronics that go in it, which is about 23 ounces, and tip weight, and then a finish and a 6 ounce. If I put a 6 ounce finish on, I'm at 59 and a quarter ounces. So that's pretty good. I mean, we're gonna put the wheel spats on. That should be about a half an ounce, I'm sure, maybe a little less. I'm using 1/4 inch balsa. It's just under 5 pound wood, so pretty soft 1/4 inch. And I'll show you how to do that next. So wheel spats, you got to kind of. I mean, I have some patterns from other planes that I built. You kind of got to look at it. What do you want here? I think I'm going more with this one with the little cutout in the front. And I've used these before, so you kind of what it looks like. The pointy ones are nice too, but we'll see. I think I'm going to go with the front cut off. But again, what you can do is play paper dolls here. Uh, if you look, like the angle's a little bit different, so I may or may not. I may take this angle in a little bit more. I don't know yet. I'm still looking at it. So we'll see. But and like I said, what you do is you could just take a folder and you can lay these out and put them into the sizes you think you want. Then you can look at them. How's it going to look? You can tape them on, look from the side. Okay, how's that going to look? How's that angle? So I think for sure I'm going to cut a little bit more angle out of this. So a little bit more like this one. As I'm looking at these, I think I like a combination of the two here somewhere. So we'll kind of get it there. All right. So first things first, when you get a pendant rights. What we do is just lay it out. What I do is I put holes. And in my template, I have holes in it to kind of tell me where the wire is going to go. All right, now, what I said I wanted to do is kind of take a little bit of angle out of the front. So I'll cut out two identical ones here. Take a sanding block, clean up the edges. All you're doing is just right now, just squaring up the edges. Make sure your cut is straight. What you can do is use the table. Have a straight edge here. Like if you're worried your cut is on a little bit of an angle, I mean, I got a square edge here on the table. I put the block up against there and just, run it on there. All right. So let's see what the weight is here. Just out of curiosity. Yeah, 2 grams. Mm. I'm gonna save these little pieces. This is really good wood I throw in the pile. There now. So I'm gonna take advantage of the cut here, and I lined up the grain so it's exactly the same. With the wire line in. marking the other side of it. A little more than an inch and an eighth. And just putting a line on both sides. Again, just using the bench here as a guide. Now let's see how we did here. The other thing there just so it's definitely something I'm picking up here that's scoring right into the wood. It's not a big deal at this point. All right, so now we're going to square these two pieces up. So they're pretty close on two sides, each side. Oh, yes, on that side. Okay. All right, the other thing I'll do is draw center lines down this. So I'm going to taper these. Um, the other thing I'll do, I'm going to use again, I'm going to use carbon 1 millimeter rod here because I can't tell you all the times that these things get dinged up. But that's something that I like to use. It really protects the edges. In this case, that's all it's really doing. And again, now we're lining them up, making sure that we have mirror images here. We do. Good. All right, so now we have two mirror images. Now, what we're going to do is figure out where the axle lands and the height of the axle ends up on both of these. If I put it right down there to the fuse, I mean to the wing, I put it right on there, but you always want a little bit of a gap. So what we do is get a piece of 1/8 inch anywhere here that I can use. Maybe it's a piece of 16. I'm not sure. All right, now, so just looking at that, so I like where the line is. Yeah, it's not bad. So now what I want to do is mark where the axle comes through. Right about there somewhere. So that's where the right bottom of the gear comes through. Okay, good. So that's that one. That's the inboard, right? The outboard. Do the same thing for the inboard. Same thing, just about. Check it. Right. Now, I do is take a rod. I'm just going to vary this in a little bit. Not a lot. And I'm going to come over and cover it with a. All right, so I'm going to just cut down just a little bit, not all the way through. And all I'm doing is kind of scoring that blue line. Just going in about 1/16 of an inch here. And then at the end, I just go down. Now, what I have is a piece of square 1/8, quarter, 3/16, somewhere. So what I'm gonna do is use a piece of 5/32 wire. I mean, tube. So I'll just sharpen it. And I'm going to use this to create the cavity. Don't worry about a square one, but you know. And all you're doing is going right down. Just take your time here. Should have got a longer one. And that's what you're doing. You're just creating the cavity here for this. And you don't want to go all the way down. You want to have this sticking, the 5/32 tube sticking up about halfway. Let me get a longer one. There we go. All you do is just sharpen it up. And just twist it and roll as you go in. Just take your time, especially when you get down to the bottom here. So easy to just chew it off there. Now I'm going to cover this with a piece of 1/64 plywood. Just enough to cover where this is. Okay. Now, the other thing we're going to do, take a piece of 220 sticky back paper. Put it to the end of the rod and just fold it back onto itself. Now what we do is just clean the trough out neatly. All right, let's put this piece of wood back in the file. So now what we're doing is we're going to check to see, do we like the fit up? Are we happy with it? Is it even? It can be a little bit more over here. All right. It's not bad. So now we're going to set up the other side, but now you can use, because you're going to have to look down the plane and make sure that you line it up where you want it. And like I said, what I'll do is I have to scuff these up a little bit, and we'll put in, I use CA. Guys use other stuff. You can use epoxy, I guess, but I haven't had a problem using CA. But what I will tell you, you definitely got to scuff up those the wheel, or the pieces. All right, do the same thing on the other one. All right, same deal. And by like going down and just cutting the wood a little bit, putting a score line in the wood, it helps it peel up better. You get cleaner edges on it. You're just following the line down. Every once in a while, just cleaning out the and just get careful when you get to the end. And there you go. I mean, if you wanted to, you could put positive stops on this. You could get the depth that we want and put something and be able to push it in a bunch of times. Do that. But this is not that critical. You're putting a groove in that you needed exact sizes. It'd be a good idea to do that. You can do the same thing here. We do if you wanted to, you could put a piece of plywood. You can glue a piece of plywood here and give yourself a positive stop. So now, what I'm going for is I'm not going for this is flush. It's just sitting up about 16, maybe a little less. And maybe a little more over here. Now I just check it. All right, so pretty good. Now, what I need to do, pop these out and score them up. What I may do is take some. What I'm gonna do is take some Kevlar rope, Kevlar wire, and I'll wrap it around it. Take the wheel collar off. Now using some 80 grit here. And all you're doing is creating a rough surface here. You're not looking to sand this, grind this down a lot. Just now, we get some Kevlar thread to help with this. So 7,000 Kevlar thread. It's just something else to create a bond to. What I do is just put a little dab of CA. And that's it. And that's I've wrapped the Kevlar thread that'll adhere itself to the steel and the wood. It's just another good binder. And, and that's where we're going to be. But before I do that, I'm going to put it back on the plane and I'll tack glue it in place. And we're just going to just put a drop of glue here to get it packed in where we want it. Again, I got my piece of 16th wood here underneath. That's what I want to do is really take a good look at it. Stick the wheel back on here. Give me some reference. And I'm pretty happy with that. So what I'll do is just put a Just tack glue this in place here. So that one's some more tack glue. I'll get both of them on, and then we'll do is look at it, measure it. If any one of these are crooked, it certainly will affect trim. What do you think if we got a sail hanging up below the plane? It's the same process here. Checking the fit. Okay. All right, same deal. You're gonna grind it just a little bit, just enough to rough the surface up. All you want to do is rough the surface up. You can put these on with JB Weld or something else if you want, or some kind of epoxy. But I use CA, so I'm sure a bunch of people say you can't do that, but I do. So, I mean, the Kevlar thread is really nice, and it's one of those deals you can you buy one roll of it that probably lasts your lifetime. I'll just put a little dab of CA here. My camera a little bit. And I really like CA for a couple of reasons. One, dries really fast. Two, light. You just tack glue this on. And I'm not gluing. Right now, I'm not gluing the Kevlar. Just tacking it onto the rod. But I'll saturate this with CA once it's in position. So put that back in. Big piece 16th, same thing. And just looking at it, just tacking it in place here. Now, what you want to do You want to really look down the plane and make sure you don't have them running out. And the other thing you do is got to put center lines on it. I can measure. So like center to center there. Is 19 and a quarter. Let's see. No way. 19 and a quarter. How about that? So now I know they're parallel to each other. Um, so that's one thing. And then you just got to really look down it and make sure that you're happy with it. So take a couple looks at it. Just make sure you're good. Take a look from the side. Look at the shape you want. Hmm. Okay. I'm very happy with it. Now take them off and we'll glue them. All right, see a little bit of a challenge already getting this bolt out. It's going to be a little bit of a pain. But when we thin that, of course, I put the bolts that way. I should have put them the other way. I should have put that bolt forward and that bolt. My bolt couldn't go on the back, but maybe it could have. Anyway, it just makes you got to come up with one unit apparently. Because it's really tight here. So you got to get the back pulled out. What I'll do is I'll radius anyway, because we'll be cut down to a taper. And oh, it comes to a point here anyway, so we'll be good. All right, now, so what I want to do is saturate this with CA. Both thick and thin. First thin to get it everywhere, so make it run everywhere. Now, the second piece of this, getting piece of 64th plywood. Let's see if I can scrap. So now I just put a piece of 64th plywood here over this and attach it all with the CA, and then we'll put the carbon rod and start sanding it in. And out of curiosity, 1 1/4. These things weighed 1.8 when I started with the collars too, so we gained about a quarter, a little less than a quarter ounce. So I think finished it'll be about maybe quarter ounce, maybe a little bit more. So not bad. Now we get a piece of 64th. This will work. That's 30-second. I cut. How much 30-second leaves? It's not long enough anyway. Yeah. Beat the 64th. And what I'll do is cut at the width of the ruler, which is a little more than 3/4. So the beauty of 64th is you can cut it with a scissor. Just out of curiosity. 5. I'm debating on going with 30-second. I'm going to sand a bunch of it. Let me see something. Just out of curiosity, I want to see. And 30-second, you can cut. Believe it or not, you can cut with a scissor. I mean, you could score it and break it. It's roughly the same. I mean, only a little bit. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna use 30-second here because I'm gonna sand it in anyway. It's gonna get blended in a bunch. Now, all right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have to put a little slot. Have it go down below that. So just marking that. And the other thing is we got to figure out. All right, now I'm gonna put the slot on my saw here. Just shaping it in here. Almost perfect. And I'll match it up with the second, make the second one the same way. Okay, perfect. Now we'll cut the groove in it. And we'll check the fit up. Good. So now we're going to clean it up. I'm ready to go. And I'm leaving the dust on. The dust will help it kick off. Now, you gotta do is you have to force it around this wire a little bit. All right. That's pretty good. You'll boot it up in a second. All right. Just what I want to do is mark where it's going to up here. I want to put the glue down. I'm not all over the place. All right, now, what you want to do, I'm going to take a wire here. I'm going to try and bend some of this already. Try and pre-bend it a little bit. Just a little bit of pre-bend in it. Help it out. Now, thick CA. I put a lot on here. What I'm doing is pushing one side down. I'm running a little thin CA over here to just help the seam up. So then you're going to push the other side down. And I'll do the same process here a little bit. One of the other things I used to do is sand it down first, and then use one piece of 64th on the whole inside. But I want to try something a little different this time. Probably going to say I should have put the 64th plywood on, but I didn't. If I like this or not. We'll see. Nah, I don't want this. So here's what I'm going to do. So what I'll do is take a paper towel here. One thing, I'm going to sand it in first, and then I will use a whole piece of 64th on the inside. That's going to be better. All right, I got to get some more 1mm. I'm down to my last two pieces. Enough to do one more stab. Now, what I'm going to do is put it. I'm not putting it right in that center line I drew. I'm putting it more towards the inside of the center line. And that's because I want more shape on the outside and to be a little bit flatter on the inside. Just run CA down it. So what you end up with is not exactly in the center line, but almost in the center line of that. So you'll have more shape on the outside than the inside, which is what I'm going for. Short piece right here. I don't add any on the bottom. Find that piece there. I'm gonna go find it. All right. Off camera, I just glued up the other one. As you can see, I have the 1mm carbon rod. It's not exactly the center now, but it's work on sanding this in. And once it's sanded in, the shape I want, I'll make a 64th inside piece, which will be a lot better. Um, So what I do first is take my 26 blade here. Just try not to make as much mess. I'm gonna put it down a little bit better. And it is really windy out here today. You know, I think the circle burners were out flying this morning, or they were going out to meet. I don't think they're flying today. It's really, it's really windy. So just making sure I'm glued. This is all glued in. Okay. All right. I'm not using my 26 blade. What I'm going to do is I don't want to sand this down flat. I want to have hump in it. So I have a center line here. I'm going to bar up to the center line. I just I want the carbon edges, not want to sit down. When I go to sand or carve on it, I can't have it moving around. Okay. So again, just really having quite the angle. I'm going to start with an angle, a sharp angle here. And then what I'll do is finish it by laying it down more. You don't want to take big chunks out, so you're just taking little shavings here. And that's what you got. And I'll take my sanding block, has 220 on it. And let me do sand the edge first. I'm never really sanding it flat. I'm always working an edge. If you look, on both sides, you have a nice little thing there. Good. Now we do the same thing over here. Just being careful. And you gotta be very mindful to which way the grain is going. It's nice. You can carve right up to the carbon rod. I have to carve the carbon rod. I don't know. What you're doing is you're just putting a shape into it. And what you can do is you look, you can, as you're standing, you look down at it, make sure your shape is even. Okay, so one half is now shaped. Now we're going to shape the bottom half, which is not much. If you want to do a good angle and smaller block to get into. What you want to do is sand right up to the carbon edge. You don't want to sand the rod or Kevlar on the rod. What you want is about a quarter of an inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch of a sand in, yes. You want to make sure you got a nice sharp line. So there's one, and now we'll put the 64th line again. So again, a little bit more over here, it looks like. Everything I want to do is recess a little bit for that bolt. I want to cut a little bit of an angle here so I can get the bolt in without chewing this up every time. These always got to be put in before. So the bolt always have to be in. Which is fine. All right, now let me get a piece of 64 plywood that I had before. To make sure we got it the way we want. That don't have to be perfect in anything. It can be big. Show off. Good. Now we just put a little slot here. I saved this little piece. Now, so what I want is to be just like that is fine. I don't want it to go all the way up to the top because then I got to worry about sanding it in. Big curls. So that's good. That's perfect. And it's okay if it sticks over because I'll just glue it on and then I'll sand it down. Make two of these. And I saved that little piece to stick in the bottom. Side pen. Now, quick CA. I'd say a liberal amount. I want to leave it 8 at the top. NCA and around the edges. Just holding it down, squeezing it in. I think you can use the table, force it around. My little kicker helps. Again, just shoot a little bit of CA. So we'll glue this side in. Glue my finger to it. Now, gotta get the front in here, or the top. I'm using the table. Push this down and in. So it's good and glued in now. Now, that little piece I told you to save, stick that back in. Right now, you're all lined on 64 plywood. And what's nice now is I'm not gonna put any covering on this at all. This will just get some epoxy on it, and that's it. Now I'm just shooting in some CA. Now we just sand in the sides here. So what I'll do is speed it up a little bit. sanding it right to the edge. You do it by hand. But I like living on the edge. So it's close now, and now I'll hand sand it in the rest of the way. There's a spat. So I got a bunch of sanding to do on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand the 64th plywood edge until it disappears into the car. Curiosity. Let's see what the weight is. 0.8. Ounce and a half on your dog. Just a rough guess. All right, now I got a bunch of sanding to do here to get it blended in the way I want it. So that's your stack. It weighs about 3/4 of an ounce with the wire in it. I got to do some more finish sanding on it. I'm gonna sand the other one up off camera, and then I'll show you the finished product. All right, so I did the other one off camera, and here are the two wheel spats. So they weigh about 0.75 each, so an ounce and a half weight wise. Um, I'm very happy with the overall look. So now finishing wise, this one's pretty straightforward. So just get some epoxy here, heat it up, wipe it off just to seal the grain, and then I'll just shoot it with a primer or filler coat and sand it in. This 64th plywood really doesn't need much. Just a light sand in and some primer and be perfect. So now let's put it in. Let's see what we got. Something I'm not happy about is the fact that you gotta the way you gotta put this in. But it's not the first time it's been like this. You gotta put in the gear door with it. Make sure it's in flat first. And you're gonna put it in. What's nice is there's a 64th edge here, so it will protect so the bowl driver won't dig into it. Um, make sure the gear is in. Let's I'm going to notch a little bit more of that one out. So the one thing you want to do is you want to make sure that your gear door is flush. I may need to shorten that bolt a little bit. Gear door's sitting up a little bit, so I want to see why. And what I want to do is cut a little spot in here. So I'm going to grind a little spot in here. Yeah, perfect. All I'm doing is taking my Dremel and just cutting a little. Come up a little slot for the bowl driver to go in. Yeah. Yeah, a little bit of a challenge getting in, but it's okay. Yeah, we just flush. Next time I either have to have the gear leg come out more or have the bolt come out more, but it's okay. Yeah. All right, so I'll put the wheels on. I'm gonna look at this, see how it looks. I'll put the wheel collars on. And the other thing we'll do is we're gonna trim up the wheel collar area. So we got some sticking over. We'll grind that back too. It's pretty flush and round it off. All right. So here's a look at the spats. Let's flip this over. You get a good look on how it looks. Now we do is kind of set it down. Take a good look at it. You're happy with the stance. So there we go. Right there. Take off. Tight. All right, so now this completes the entire build. Next is going to be the finish, and just out of curiosity, let's see where we sit. Right there is 2750. That's pretty good. Plus, let me get the flap and elevators. $29.7 ounces. So that's pretty good. I want to get a couple pictures of it. I always find taking pictures of it helps a lot. So I'll take a picture of the scale and then a picture of what the plane had on it. So this is with everything in it, minus the finished tip weight and electronics. So I figured do the calculation. 29.7 plus 23 for the electronics. I'm at 52.7. If I had one for tip weight. So 53.7 minus 60, for example. I got about 6.3 ounces to play with, roughly. So yeah, so overall, I'm very happy with it. I think it looks really good. Yeah. Weight wise, I'm going to be right there. I mean, if I can come in at 6 ounces or less finish, I think I can. I could probably come in around 5. I think. We'll see. We'll see once we get some filler on it. But yeah, if I come in at 5 ounces, I'm going to be under 60. Not that it matters. This plane at 60 ounces will be good. This plane at 65 ounces is good. This plane at almost 70 ounces is good. With the lighter, just really helps the performance. So we'll be about 60 ounces. I'm very happy with. That's pretty much it for the build. We'll get on to the finishing. I don't know how much of the finishing I'll show. I'll definitely take a lot of pictures. Maybe I'll put a slideshow together or something. Finishing can get a little bit boring, but I will do things like showing the paint scheme, how I mask it, and some of the things we're doing. I'll cover some of it. I don't know how much of it, but yep. So, so that's kind of it for the build. So happy New Year, everyone. Thanks for watching. Definitely like it. Have your friends subscribe, and we'll talk later. Thanks, everyone.